Hello everyone, and welcome to my solo RPG channel. Today we are creating a character for Wrath and Glory, the new Warhammer 40,000 role-playing game system. This is different to the other Warhammer 40,000 roleplay system, even though they've both got Warhammer 40,000 roleplay as the title, apparently. This is a completely different system, completely different starting point, works completely differently. It works off dice pools of d6s as opposed to percentile rolls. And it focuses on getting everyone together. So you can play stock, any of the Imperial forces, but also Orcs or Eldar. This was not what I'd planned to do next. I wanted to do a few more things in the other Warhammer 40,000 roleplay thing, like looking at how to do Space Marines and Inquisition characters and Rogue Trader characters together. I hadn't quite gotten there yet, but the Humble Bundle store has Wrath and Glory on sale now in a bundle with, I don't know if it's all the Wrath and Glory products or just a small selection of them, but if you want Wrath and Glory, you can just head over there for the next week and get it for cheap with all of, or some of the Splat books. Otherwise, there are other places you can get it if you're interested. Now, I've never looked at Wrath and Glory before, so I don't really know much about it. Sort of a lie, I had a bit of a brief look an hour or so ago before I started recording this, but I haven't had a serious look at it, so I don't really know what we're doing, except that we can create characters in Xenos races and play Space Marines alongside lowly Inquisitor adepts, acolytes. So let's go through the book, create a character, and see what happens. It starts off with a bunch of in-character, in-world explanation of what's going on, and then jumps you into character creation, which is where we want to be. Now, this is interesting because the first thing you do is you create your framework. So as a group, you get together and decide what kind of game you are playing. And this is important because there's a few different things. A lot of places don't really work with each other. If you don't know about 40K, the human empire is ruled by religious zealots that want to put everything to the flame that is not them. You do get some cooperation happening between different species, but that is very looked down upon. Let's say that. Also, there's this idea about power, like power levels for your characters. If you want to play a Space Marine, Space Marines are supposed to be these superhuman soldiers. So if I want to play a Space Marine, but you want to play an Inquisition acolyte, a basic human, there's kind of a power difference there. And so how you deal with that. So the first thing you do is just sit down and work out with your group, what is it that you want to do? What kind of game are you going to play? How are you all going to fit into that and have some fun? So in order to deal with that power balance, it's got this idea of tiers. So you've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and then any tiers above that you want. But your various characters are generally going to start off in here somewhere. So if you're playing a tier 1 game, then you're the not very powerful lot and you can be any normal human kind of thing. Whereas power level 2 or tier 2, you're a little bit more powerful and you're going to get things like Sisters of Battle or Space Marine Scouts. If you want to play Space Marine, then you have to start at tier 3. Or if you want to play the new Primaris Space Marines, you're starting in tier 4. Then with your frameworks, you're working out who are you. Like this has got this idea of a radical Inquisitor conclave who's willing to work with anyone, whoever they are. And then you've got this other one, which is supposed to be a low-powered game of humans where you're only Imperial characters. Or this idea where any Imperial character or maybe a Xenos character, as long as they're a discrete Xenos character, and then talks about, yeah, the kind of enemies that you will be facing in the different things. Like in the tabletop game, Wrath and Glory has this idea of keywords binding everything together so that you can see how things relate to stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff about you can only pick up this war gear if you have these keywords, or this keyword is a prerequisite to this. What do they call feats in this? Talents or something? Yeah, talents. So if you want to buy this talent, not feat, you need to have this keyword. Some of them can be bracketed, at which point, like chapter, that would be choose any Space Marine chapter, like Blood Angels or Dark Angels or something. Their example is the Absolvers, which is a chapter that they've made specifically for this game. Now, this is where we've got a bit of a break-off in character creation. There's two ways to do character creation. You can either choose an archetype, or you can build it yourself from scratch. And so they've got these archetypes that are like your class or background or whatever, that go, this is what you've been doing up until this point. This is all the things. And it specifies, if you've taken this, you are human. Here are some things that you have to have. Here are some attributes that we suggest that you do get. Here are some skills we suggest you do get it. And this is the XP cost for all of those things. So if you want to have a nice, simple character creation, you just pick one of these, and these are all of the different things that you get. The other way of doing it is to not pick one of those. You can just ignore that and create your own thing from scratch. And then you get to customize your character. So the way you're doing it, when you pick a tier, you have an amount of experience. I think, here we go. Tier 1 characters start with 100 experience. Tier 2 characters start with 200 experience. Tier 3 characters start with 300 experience, and Tier 4 characters start with 400 experience. And so on and so forth if you're wanting to do that. Now, buying an archetype, as we saw when we were looking at them, they had XP costs. So if I come back down to the Sister Hospitaller, which is the first one there, we can see that in order to be a Sister Hospitaller, we start at Tier 1. If you're playing a Tier 2 game, you can make a Sister Hospitaller, and you've then got to spend the experience up to 200 experience. But the Sister Hospitaller, you're spending 24 experience to get this character. That gives you these keywords: willpower of 3 and an intellect of 3, a Medicae skill of 1 and a scholar skill of 1. It gives you this ability. It gives you this war gear, and then it's going to suggest to you that you start with a strength of 2, a toughness of 2, an agility of 2, an initiative of 2, I think it is, willpower of 3, intelligence of 3, and a fellowship of 3. And doing that will cost you an additional 26 experience. And then it says that it suggests you pick up the investigation 1 skill, the Medicae 3 skill, the Scholar 2 skill, and the weapon skill 2. And that would cost you 22 experience on top of that. So for, 72 experience, you can pick up all of this stuff, and then you've got 28 experience left to spend on something, assuming you're starting at Tier 1. It then suggests a couple of talents, 3 talents, tells you where to find them, which you could go and pick up, or you could go and spend that experience on something different. So that gives you a pretty easy and quick way to get in and start the game. Once it takes you through your archetype, it goes through customizing your character, which tells you about how to spend your XP, your remaining XP. So if I wanted to up one of those attributes that I was looking at was 2. If I wanted to up that to 3, I would have to spend 6 experience, and then I would have 28, so I'd have 22 experience left. And then I'd have to look, maybe I want something else to be 3. There's another 6 experience, or maybe I do go and buy those talents. Skills have the same thing, except the costs, I think, are different. You've got maximum scores depending on your species. So humans are 8 across the board. Orcs can be really strong and really tough, but otherwise generally have 7s as their maximum attribute. The Eldari, or the Eldar, are really agile and have a strong willpower and initiative, and are pretty speedy and smart. Your Space Marines then have the strong willpower. They're generally pretty good across the board with I know 8 is the lowest thing of fellowship. Otherwise, lowest possible is 9, but potentially getting up to a strength and toughness of 12 to rival the orcs over time. It's got then some information about the different species, their names, and if you are picking a particular species, it will give you particular things. So an Eldari have a minimum agility of 3. They start with an agility of 3, and they have a couple of extra abilities there that they just get. But it costs 10 XP to start as an Eldari. Whereas if you want to start as a Primaris Astartes, you could technically do a Primaris Astartes in a tier 2 game because you have a XP cost of 198 just for your race, and then you've only got 2 experience to spend past that. But it does give you some set attributes and some set skills. And then it goes through and lets you set a bunch of extra stuff like languages. It's got, I love this stuff, random tables for your appearance and all of the little things, and then a number of questions to ask yourself about your character before setting some of your extra stuff. So we will actually go through that in a second. Let's have a look first at the different archetypes. And then we'll just create a character, and that will basically be the video. So archetype format, this is how archetypes are set out. As I went through before, you get a name of an archetype, the tier, species, experience cost, a bunch of stuff you get for that, and then some suggested things, some suggestions that you can take or ignore, some suggested skills, and some suggested talents. It has a note here about gendered archetypes. Your character can be any sex or gender that you want it to be, with 2 exceptions, 3 exceptions. It's separating Primaris Astartes from normal Astartes. So Space Marines are always male, and Adeptus Sororitas, or the Sisters of Battle, are always female. Basically, the Adeptus Astartes, or the Space Marines, are your warrior monk type caste, and your Adeptus Sororitas are the nuns with guns, in this setting that has very, very heavy Christian overtones, where they've gone, oh, okay, we've got the monk class over here and they're all men, and the nun class over here and they're all women. Basically, the Sisters of Battle are female Space Marines. I think that that's their starting point. And then, you know, as lore got developed, things diverged past there. So the Adeptus Astartes then became super enhanced soldiers when the Adeptus Sororitas didn't. But those are the only exceptions to that. Otherwise, any of your characters can be anything they want to be. So that brings us to our first Adeptus Sororitas character, the Sister Hospitaller. The Adeptus Sororitas is broken up into different orders. One of them is an order entirely of doctors, surgeons, field medics. And so the one that's presented here, you can of course have not field medics, but the one that's presented here is a field medic running around a battlefield healing people. Ministorum priest, so a priest of the ecclesiarchy. You preach and enforce the imperial cult. You lead the faithful to execute his will, inflaming faithful hearts with your impassioned oration. Imperial Guard. Here is the Inquisitorial Acolyte. Conscripted to aid an Inquisitor, you identify and destroy threats to the Imperium. And this is basically what you'd be playing in the Dark Heresy game, except you'd come from some of these other backgrounds. An Inquisitorial Sage. You're a bureaucratic savant, an expert at sourcing and judiciously applying knowledge to serve the Imperium and your own ends. I guess that these 2 roles are the roles that are replacing things like the Administratum background, or the Arbites, the Adeptus Arbites, which were the police force. Ganger. And then we get the Corsair, who is the first Xenos archetype. A space pirate, a self-imposed exile of your species. You raid and fight for coin, and to experience the full spectrum of sensation and emotion. Orc Boy is next, a hulking, brutish creature who lives only to fight. You are a loutish, Anarchic Bruiser, born for battle. Yep, that sounds like an orc. And then we get to the tier 2 archetypes with Sister of Battle. We've then got Sanctioned Psyker, which is the wizard class, essentially. A mutant capable of channeling the warp to manipulate reality. So if you're not familiar with the 40k lore, you're Psyker or Psychics. That's your wizard class. Being a Psyker is illegal unless you've got a license. If you get identified as a Psyker, you have to submit yourself to tests. You will either end up executed on the spot, sent to the Golden Throne to become lunch for the Emperor, where you will be sacrificed to power the Golden Throne, or they give you a license and let you go back out into the world. Sort of. They press you into service somehow, probably with the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, but potentially also to the Inquisition. So then we've got the Scutarius, also tier 2. I think this is the first Adeptus Mechanicus archetype. Death Cult Assassin, the Tempestus Scion, a Rogue Trader, Scavi. You are a survivor of the worst conditions of Imperial society, molded by horrendous environments into a purposeful, determined mutant. You are in the Scum faction, apparently. Keyword, Scum. Brilliant. But yeah, some kind of criminal hard ass at tier 2 instead of tier 1. And then here's the first Space Marine character with the Space Marine Scout. Ranger, so back to another Elder character. Embracing the path of the outcast, you stealthily travel the galaxy in search of new experiences, eliminating threats to your craft world from afar. Commando, which is another Orc. Tech Priest, another Adeptus Mechanicus one. Crusader, which is another Adept Administorum one. Imperial Commissar, Desperado, Tactical Space Marine, Warlock, Orc Nob, Inquisitor, Primaris Intercessor, and that's where we stop there, getting with some of those more powerful tier 4 characters. But yeah, that gives you a good idea of the scope of the game. So potentially you could be a Inquisitor or Primaris Intercessor, and your mate could be one of these, I don't know, a Sister Hospitaller, who is the first up on the list. So anything is possible in this game. So let's look at creating a character. So we've got a list of all the archetypes in their tiers. So what do we want to play? If we want to play a lower tier character, or what do we want to create? Let's do this randomly. We've got this table here with a number of different things on it. So let's just first roll 1d4 to see what tier we're playing. Well, creating a character for. There's no actual game coming. So the first thing that we're doing, that we should be doing, that we're missing is creating a what was it, the template or whatever it was, the idea that we were going to create a character in this particular group that fit with this particular group. We're not going to do that. We are going to create a tier 3 character though. So we've got the options of Tech Priest, Crusader, Imperial Commissar, Desperado, Tactical Space Marine, Warlock, and Nob. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different options. So 1d8 on an 8 I reroll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space Marine. Why not? So we're creating a Tactical Space Marine. So where are we? How do we do this? We go create your character, choose your archetype, customize your character. All right, well, let's jump over to the Tactical Marine archetype. This is a tier 3 character. So tier 3, rank 1. Player name, Mox. Character name, we'll come back to this. Species, Adeptus Astartes. Faction. We're going to need to get a chapter in here. Do we have anything about chapters? Maybe there's something in factions, the Imperium, Adeptus Astartes. Here we go. The chapter keyword. Adeptus Astartes backgrounds. So we've got a bunch of cool stuff here. So we've got. So I'm just going to take one of the chapters from this book. So, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Imperial Fist, Iron Hands, Raven Guard. That's 5. Salamanders, Space Wolves, Ultramarines for 8. Okay, so we've got 8 different lots in the book. Who are we going with? 6. 6 looks like the Salamanders. Faction. Salamanders. Archetype. Tactical Space Marine. Now, while we're on this page, what should I get here? What do I need to write down? This is some information about the Salamanders chapter. They've got this Promethean cult forged in fire. Salamanders are masters of purging, flame, and blazing weapons. You may re-roll rank dice once per attack. Test made using the fire or melter keywords. You may, yeah, okay. So that sounds like a free talent thing. Talents and abilities, here we go. Promethean cult. I'm just going to say Salamanders in brackets so I know where I got it from. Infernal Inheritance. Gene Seed. And we know that comes from Salamanders. Salamanders' eyes grow like red-hot forges and their skin is stained coal black. Their strange appearance is the result of both their gene seed and the high radiation of their home world of Nocturne. Their chapter instills a deep altruism in every Astartes, each keenly feeling the pain of every fallen ally. Whenever an ally within 30 meters of you is killed, the GM gains +1 ruin. You suffer a +2 DN penalty to any fellowship test, fellowship-based test made against any target that would be frightened of your appearance. Oh, okay. Cool. So that's that. We'll come back to well, up here because we've got this this thing here. So one of my keywords is salamanders. We'll come back to backgrounds and all of that stuff because I think that that's actually in some of the stuff I skipped over in the character creation. So for the moment, we'll just go back down to TAC Marines. We've got 300 experience to spend. The XP cost for a tactical space marine is 277. So I don't know where to write that down. Wrath. There's got to be an experience spot. A current experience earned. Why have we got XP earned and current experience earned? Because one of them should be like earned experience and spent experience. Or something, whatever. I'm just going to write 200 and... Write 300 here and 277 here. So, keywords. Imperium. Adeptus Astartes. Manders. Cool. Attributes. I think we put them here. So I have a strength of 4, toughness of 5, an agility of 5, an initiative of 5, a willpower of 3, an internet and an intellect of 3. Doesn't say anything about having a fellowship. That has to be a minimum of 1, so I'm putting a 1 there. But maybe that will come out as we're creating our character. Skills. Good, it actually writes down the skills. So athletics rating 3, awareness 3, ballistic skill 5, leadership 1, scholar 1, stealth 3, survival 1, and weapon skill 4. Archetype ability is tactical versatility. So your training has prepared you for any circumstance. When you make a critical hit, you may re-roll twice on the critical hit table and choose either result. I guess that's cool. Gear, here we go. So we got Aquila Mark 7, power armor, a bolt gun. I'm going to write this one down here, bolt gun. I've got a bolt pistol, and a star T's combat knife, frag grenades. I've also got 3 crack grenades. This armor should go here, and we'll go 3 crack, 3 frag grenades, 3 crack grenades. An influence, I get +2 influence. How do I put that on my sheet? I don't know how to put that on my sheet, but I'm going to I'll put it down here right now. +2 influence, because that's calculating back to 0. So that will get worked out at some point, I am sure. Cool. So now that we've sorted that out, 277, we've got, what, 23 experience left to spend. So I'm not going to go through the talents because that would have me reading a huge list of different things and trying to work out what they all are, and that's not going to be hugely interesting. So we're just going to come back to creating your character, customize your character. Is this where attribute costs come in? Yeah, so if I want to go from 3 to 4, oh, hang on, fellowship. I want to at least increase my fellowship. So I've got 23 points. I could... I'm going to get a fellowship of 3 for 10 points. Oh dear. For some reason, this is giving me a -2 on here, and I have a feeling it's because I tried to put a 2 in here. What if I put a 1 in here? How about a 0? Yeah, it's not going to explain that to me, but that's okay. Oh, here we go. Speed is here. Speed is a something. This will be on my... Here it is. The speed for Adeptus Astartes is 7. Oh, I also get the species abilities Defender of Humanity, which adds plus rank icons to any successful attack against a mob. Honor the Chapter, which increases your resolve by +1. And Space Marine implants. Well, we're at this names bit and I keep going past it, so let's pick a name. Gaius, because that's there, and that works. That was basically the first name I saw on the list. It'd be nice if that was in a table that I could roll on, but that's okay. So I just spent 10 experience here. There was a thing. I've lost it. Skill cost. Let's increase some skills. So I've got another 12 points, so I could get, I don't know, a skill rating of 3 in something that I have a rank nothing in. So tech, pilot, persuasion, Medicae, intimidation, investigation, insight, deception, cunning. Or if I want to go from, say, 3 to 4, I could do that once and have 4 points left over. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put my survival up to 2 for a cost of 4 experience. And then I've got 8 experience left. Ooh, I could go scholar up to... Ooh, yeah, let's do that. Let's put scholar up to 2. And now I've got 4 experience left. And leadership, I can put my leadership to 2, or I could have 2 things go to 1. Pilot to 1, because I could be flying things, potentially. I can't get psychic mastery. We'll get tech to 1 as well. So I've got a tiny bit of experiences as a pilot. We'll use that. And that, assuming I've counted correctly, is 300 experience spent. And we are done with most of the character stuff. And we're actually at this bit where we customize our character. Adding detail, appearance. And we've got these tables here. So here we go. Language first. Language comes up. Where is language on this chart? I can't see it anywhere. So I'm just going to put it down here. And we're going to go languages, Low Gothic, because everyone speaks Low Gothic. High Gothic. Hang on. Every character knows Low Gothic in Wrath and Glory. You can learn an additional language at the cost of 1 XP. You receive a free additional language at character creation if you have the appropriate keyword. So I get High Gothic for free because I have the Adeptus Astartes keyword. And that's the keywords coming into play. So now we're looking at some of these extra bits, which don't seem to show up anywhere in my character sheet. So that's okay. We've got the notes section at the bottom. The age of an Astartes Marine is 4d6 times 5. So what? 8 times 5 is 40. I am 40 years old. Age 40. Eyes. I would roll on this, but apparently they glow red. Eye color, red. Hair color. Now the thing about salamanders, it didn't say anything about their hair. It was eyes glow red, skin turns coal black. Do they have hair? Can they have hair? I'm going to roll just in case, and it's D66, which is rolling 2d6, and one of them is your... So got 52, which would be grey. So if I have hair, grey. If salamanders have hair, assuming it doesn't all fall out. Because it could, if it's going to do that. Height. So Adeptus Astartes is 7 feet plus... So I'm 7'1", 1d6 inches, 7 foot 1 inch. On the shorter side, not that there's much of a difference for Space Marines according to that. Features. Table below presents some distinguishing features, something memorable about your character. Cool. So maybe they've got an augment, maybe they've got a modification. So we'll roll 2d6. 4, it's a habit. 4, makes notes on everyone they meet. Interesting. Bringing your character to life. 10 questions. Where's the background stuff? I swear there's a link in here about background, which is supposed to take you to that page that I was on before and said I'd come back to. Maybe it's in here. Species bonuses, species interaction, background. Oh, here it is. Your character's background, the experiences they had before the thing. Your character receives a small bonus depending on the type of background you select. So that's the thing I'm missing. So we need to go factions, Adeptus Astartes. And this is talking all the information about Space Marines. And here we have the backgrounds. I need an origin, an accomplishment, and a goal. Oh, so those had things on the sheet. No background. Well, we've got background here, so I could just put it in here. So do I roll 1d? Do I roll for each of these? Let's just go up to the top where it explains. No, does it not? Backgrounds. When you create your character, you can flesh out your background however you want, ideally working with the other players. Roll a dice to determine your origin, how you joined the... Roll another to determine your accomplishment, and roll a third. Yeah, so you get all of those things. So my origin is cunning. Gain +1 determination. Determination +1. And then we get badge of honor as my accomplishment. Badge of honor. Influence +1. And then we get advancement. My goal is advancement. Gain influence +1. Oh, okay. So my influence is going to then be +3 at least. And then we get an objective. Here we've got this objective thing. I should have looked. I rolled 1d6 without looking, and it went into my other d6s that were there. So I have to re-roll that. 6. Ruminate on the divide between Astartes and mortals. That could be interesting. It could also be very cerebral and get left in the wayside, but that's okay. That is okay. And that is all of that. So we come back to adding detail, which is where we were, bringing your character to life. So let's look through these 10 questions and see if I'm going to like them or not. Where are you from? I have no idea. I guess Nocturne. Nocturne is where salamanders are from. Thankfully, salamanders actually know a little bit about. So I would have been recruited from Nocturne, most likely. How I ended up in whatever system. The Gilead system is the system they've created for the game, this game setting. But yeah, Nocturne is where the salamanders come from and they recruit from. How were you raised? Yeah, well, you joined the faction as a child. They determined that you were suitable and take you, because that's what happened. So that's answers to how were you raised and how did you join your faction. They just decide that they're taking you. I suppose I could go into detail about that and have some story about how I was living on a farm and there was some incident and I gained the attention of the Astartes or something like that were there, who came to resolve it or whatever. Who are your friends? Well, this could be interesting if making a salamander, because salamanders are the nice ones. They could have non-Astartes friends that are, you know, back home. Potentially make friends. Maybe I should have made a higher fellowship. Had a fellowship of 4 because I'm actually a personable space marine. Who are your friends? What are your most significant memories? That could be interesting, I guess. This is good actually, because these questions are reasonably good because they're not things apart from, you know, where are you from? They don't require specific knowledge of the setting. Your personality. What is your greatest desire? Apparently, I want advancement in my order. What is your greatest fear? What do you believe in? To whom or what are you loyal? And why are you in the Gilead system? Yeah, so that's not too bad because it's what is the reason for you to coming to the place that you are starting? You just take the Gilead system out of it. But I suppose that you could enhance that if you have knowledge of the setting. But most of these other questions are things that don't necessarily require knowledge of the setting, knowledge of the lore. What do you believe in might help. It might help to know about the Imperium and what views are foisted on people, how people are indoctrinated in the Imperium to the beliefs that they have in order to fill those. But otherwise, it kind of works. Your rank is 1. I did that. I've fixed these out. Oh, here we go. There's a couple of things for tough questions if you'd like. What is your internal conflict? And how is your character different from yourself? If you want to answer those as well. But we've now got some things for calculating your defense. My defense is apparently 4. Apparently it's your initiative rating -1. Okay. Resilience. Where's resilience? Here we go. The representation of how well you can withstand injuries. Yep. Your base resilience is your toughness rating +1, which is why it's 6. Toughness of 5. So you get a thing of 6. If you're wearing any armor, add its armor rating to your resilience. Okay, so I do have armor, but I don't yet know what the armor rating is. So it'll be interesting to see how that adds in, if it does that automatically or I have to do it myself. Wounds. Your maximum wound trait is equal to double your tier plus your toughness rating. So it should be 6 plus 5. Do I have wounds? No, that hasn't worked itself out. So that's 11. Determination. Your ability to continue acting despite the damage to your body. Your determination value is equal to your toughness rating, which I've got here. Yep. Shock. The measure of how much mental trauma you can take, which is equal to your willpower. Rating plus your tier. Okay, so it hasn't... No, it has done that. My willpower plus my tier is 6, so that's worked out fine. Mental traits. Corruption. Corruption starts at 0. Sounds good to me. Can I find corruption somewhere to put it there? Oh, there are tick boxes, so I've got 0 corruption. That sounds good to me. There are levels of corruption. Conviction. Is that somewhere on my sheet? Oh, it's max. So this starts at 0, does it? And you add in wounds. Conviction, I can't find anywhere. Whenever you try to resist corruption, should be with my corruption then. Your Your starting conviction is equal to your willpower. But I can't see... I'll just put it here. Resolve. I haven't seen resolve there either. Oh no, resolve is 2. Oh, conviction is 3 up here. Good. My resolve is apparently 2 because my starting resolve is equal to your willpower plus -1, which is right. Resolve is used to resist fear and other psychological conditions. And then we've got passive awareness, which is down here, 3. Equal to half your intelligence skill rounded up if necessary. Intelligence? Oh, your awareness intelligence skill. Oh, okay. Then we've got influence, which is apparently fellowship. Your influence is equal to your starting fellowship -1, which should be 3. Why is my... I don't understand why I can't have... Oh, wait, no, I fixed it. I didn't fix it. Hey, cool. So my starting influence is like that, but I've actually got a large amount of extra influence. I've got like +4 influence. So I should have 6 influence, but I can't change it down here. That's fine, I guess. Determination was the... No? Determination. Conviction is there. Your determination is equal to... Oh, here it is. So I've got +1 to my determination. Can I change this one? No, it won't let me. So this should also be 6. There you go. Influence. Yep. And then wealth. And your starting wealth is equal to your tier and may be modified by your abilities or talents. You may spend XP to buy more wealth when you create your character. Each extra point of wealth costs 1 XP, and you can buy up to 4 wealth. Okay, that's interesting. But I've got 3 wealth. That's actually correct. So, yay. Now, here we go. Here is the advanced character creation stuff, which we won't look at in this video. But, yeah, that is basically how you create a thing. Now, I've got a couple of last things. Let's look at war gear, because I want to look really quickly. I'll put these weapons in so that I actually have a usable character sheet. Melee weapons, combat knife, dice pool. I don't know about that, but damage is strength +3. So it's what, 4 + 3? And I'm keeping it as 4 + 3 for the moment, because that's going to change when I find my armor. ED is 2, AP is -1, range is... It has the trait reliable. There's no salvo there either, so I don't know how dice pools work for combat, but we'll come back to... Well, we might not come back to that bit. But bolt pistol... Damage is 10. ED is 1. AP is nothing. Range is 6, 12, 18. Oh, I don't know what a salvo is. Salvo is 1, 6, 12, 18. They don't have them in the same thing. It has the traits brutal and pistol. And then we've got bolt gun as well, which is also 10 damage, 1 ED, no AP, salvo of 2, and then it's range of 12, 24, and 36. Oh, are they meters? It's got a range of 6 meters and a range of 12 meters. Is that what that is? And the traits are brutal and rapid fire 2. We also have frag grenades, which I'll find really quickly. And we don't have enough space to put in crack grenades. 10, 4, strength ×4 or as launcher. Salvo, strength ×4. Okay, I'll come back to that. And it's got blast 6. And we won't put in crack grenades because that's unfortunately just not there. And we're looking for armor. Armor, here we go. So we have power armor with an AR of 5. So let's see if this, nope, let's put that in there. That total's not going to come up. So that should be 11. Oh, hang on. Am I looking at the right power armor? Yes, I am. It has the trait powered 3, and I've looked that up. If we just come up here and find powered X, the strength bonus, whilst wearing this trait, you gain a strength bonus equal to the rating, and additionally, you cannot be knocked prone when you roll a complication when firing an unsecured heavy weapon. So my strength goes up by 3 to 7, which is really good. And all those things that I was waiting on that was going to, here we go, 7 plus 3 is 10. And what was the other thing? My range was 7 times 4, which is what, 28? Which is actually better than my bolt pistol, I guess. Cool. So that's it, I think. That is a complete character, or as complete as we're going to get, for Wrath and Glory. There are a couple of little things that could be ironed out with this character sheet, but that's a working character for Wrath and Glory created off an archetype. So I hope you found this interesting. I think that Wrath and Glory looks like a pretty interesting game. And so if you want to check it out in the next 7 days, after, assuming that you're viewing this right after I've posted it, you can go and get it at the Humble Bundle store. Otherwise, it'll be available on places, all the usual places like your friendly local game store or Drive-Thru-RPG. Is that the place? Drive-Thru-RPG? I'm obviously done for the day because I'm mixing up my, can't even remember what they're called now. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.